Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's a beautiful day that God has made. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting for Sumter County Council for Tuesday, April 25th. Please let us stand for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Our kind Heavenly Father, we do thank you for allowing us to come together again to do the business that you appointed us to do. We invite your presence and ask that you bless everyone under the sound of our voice. If you would continue to bless our men and women who are serving in uniform, and especially those who are serving in harm's way. We ask your blessings upon our county administrator and his staff and all of county council as we approach this budget year. We ask that you help us to be good stewards, be wise in all of our decisions. And we just thank you for being the ultimate provider of every good and perfect gift, and help us to use the gifts that you've given us to expand and meet the needs of those that we are serving. As we go through every item, we ask your wisdom and your understanding that we will make decisions according to your will. These are all blessings we thank and ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Tonight we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by U.S. Army retired veteran Jason Stoddard. Hey, Jason. Who served our country from May 1993 to August 2018. He is currently project manager for the city of Sumter. He currently lives in County Council District 4. Thank you for your service, Jason.
Mr. Chairman, council members, thanks for having me here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please recite the pledge with me? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Fleming, are there any changes to the agenda?
There's no changes.
Sorry. Motion and a second to approve our agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving our agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. We have a motion to approve our minutes.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and properly seconded to approve our minutes for our regular meeting for Tuesday, April 11th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Land use matters, RZ 2303 is ruled.
Good evening. RZ 2303 at 3720 Broad Street is a request being brought forward by Christine Coker as the authorized agent. This is a request to rezone a 0.81 acre portion of a larger 1.59 acre tract of property from general residential to general commercial at 3720 Broad Street. This is the entirety of the tract. It's actually located kind of halfway between Loring Mill Road and North St. Paul Church Road on the south side of Broad Street. It is split zoned. The front part of the property is general commercial with the rear part being general residential. And just to put it into perspective, the 0.81 acre area that we're talking about is highlighted in yellow in this picture. Property is wooded on the rear portion with grown-up grass on the front. It is currently undeveloped. As you see from the August 2022 street view, it's still the same way today. It was just the safest way to get photographs of this site because Broad Street is a four-lane divided highway. When we look at environmental influences on the property, the reason we show this is because there are wetlands on the residentially zoned piece of property just to the south of this, which does mean that the eventuality of development of the general residential property to the south of this location is likely, highly unlikely for a variety of reasons. One, it's outside of the city limits, so there is no sewer service available to it. And two, it's a landlocked parcel. When we look at rezoning requests, we look at the comprehensive land use plan, and in this instance, it is in the military protection planning area. Generally, rezoning actions in the military protection planning area that take steps to reduce residential density, which in this case going from our most intense residential district, which is general residential, to our most intense commercial district. General commercial is in general alignment with the comprehensive land use plan. Planning Commission does recommend approval of this request. It will bring the property into one zoning district, which is in zoning best practices. Changing that GR designation to general commercial is in alignment with the comprehensive land use plan, as the GR district does permit dense residential development that otherwise is incompatible with the military protection planning area. The future residential development on property adjacent to it is unlikely for the reasons that I previously stated. And we do note for the record that should the property be developed, the fact that there is residential adjacent on all sides will impact setbacks under a portion of the property, which will likely push any structures to the front of the property, with the rear of the property being some sort of screened storage area. I will note that to date, we do not know the intended use of this property. We just know the desire to rezone it is to bring it into one district. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions on this one? Prior to having the second reading, we will hold a public hearing. So I now declare the public hearing open for RZ 2303. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this rezoning request, please proceed to the podium. State your name for the public.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Thomasina Richburg Wilson. I seek adjustment for their property. I have not met the landlords. They refuse to talk to me. I don't know why. I have old property. I've been there all my life. I'm general commercial. I was grandfathered in. My mother and father has lived there for years and years. Now I would like to know what kind of property or business they would like to put next door to me. Williams Corvette has been next door to me. We are good neighbors. We take care of one another. But the new person that has taken over the property next door, I do not know who they are, and they will not come forward. So please keep me informed of all and everything that may be going on, because I am a citizen of Sumter County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Hi, my name is Sarah Shepherd, and I am on the right side of that property. My family, as Thomasina family, has lived there for many, many years. My dad, who bought this property from the family members of Caesar Richbow, he was a military soldier. He spent 23 years. He brought that property so that we could have a place to live as he traveled. We've been there for maybe 100 years as you go back in our family history. That property will rezoning that property, taking it all the way to the back will cause problems for other family members who have property and who would like to build a home back there eventually. We would like to keep our family heritage alive, and we would like not to be forced out by businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Anyone else? Seeing none, public comment section is closed. Mr. Edens.
Question for Ms. Rudman. It is already zoned general commercial in front, 300 feet or that 250?
It's 300 feet from the center line of the road, so it generally ends up being around, it may be around 250 to 300 foot depth of general commercial zoning already.
So, I mean, it's already, and that's not within our purview. It's already zoned general commercial, we can do whatever we want to in the front portion.
Correct. The rezoning action would simply allow them to also use the back part of the property for commercial activity. As it stands today, the zoning designation on this property would fundamentally create a situation where the back half of the property could not be used for commercial activity. It would remain undeveloped.
So they could not use it for storage either?
No, they would only be permitted to use it for purposes that are allowed in the general residential zoning district. It could conceivably be a house for a single dwelling if somebody chose to do that. But then again, because this is not in the city limits, development is limited by the ability to provide septic tanks on these properties.
But if they wanted to put a mobile home back there for employees or something.
They could put a single mobile home back there for an employee if they chose to, assuming that soil conditions supported it.
The way it's zoned now.
The way it is zoned correctly today.
When or if they decide to put anything on that property, it's gotta come before the planning commission
It
again.
depends on the size and scale of the development. There are certain categories of development that are reviewed at staff level because they are considered a minor site plan. Fundamentally, the difference between the two review processes is simply that the final decision goes to planning commission. It is not a public hearing process, so we do not do notifications. It's simply planning commission approving the development as proposed or adding specific conditions to enhance landscaping or parking or other things should the developer propose those. It is in the Highway Corridor Protection District, which does require a higher level of construction material on the exterior of any structures. So you're likely not going to be looking at any sort of metal building development on that property. But if the property is completely rezoned to general commercial, then the entirety of the acreage can be used for commercial purposes within the confines of development standards, buffering, screening, etc.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I heard the presentation. There are a number of unknowns, and I know how important property is to folks in Sumter County, particularly in the rural area. I know that on the property that I own, I wouldn't want to subject it to the unknowns that are apparent here. So for that reason, I will not be supporting it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
What's the pleasure?
One more question. Am I correct in that you tried to have a meeting with the owner of this property and they would not communicate with you?
What they did, what they did was they sold the property to another gentleman. I did find out, when they first sold it, I did not know who sold it. So I did my research and I found out who bought it. So I went and talked to them. He's not a very nice guy. And so then he went and sold it to someone else. So now this person who he had sold it to, I do not know who it is. They will not release the name who it is. And it's like trying to find somebody as a ghost. But what I'm getting is he's doing everything he wants to do. Sumter County has sought in their agreement to approve something without even talking to the customers, or how do you want to say, the citizens that live in that area. So now I thought we were all one county, one state, but I'm understanding and I'm finding out more and more that it's not what you know, but it's who you know in Sumter County. And I hate to say it like that.
So could I ask a quick question? If you knew what they were gonna do there, doing the back there, would would you be more comfortable with it at that point?
Not really,
Okay.
because of the way that they have went about doing this underhanded. No, sir. I cannot say I would.
Yeah, they can do it.
Do it now. Ms. Ruben, you have any comments about that?
To the best of my knowledge, the property owner of record is Charles Hodge. The applicant is an authorized agent. That is public record. It is available from the tax assessor's office on the property card. If the property has changed hands, it has not been updated in the Register of Deeds paperwork, so that would have been some sort of private agreement that has not been fully legally executed in a way that we would be aware of it. As far as the purpose and intent of the entire rezoning, there's been no indication from them what they intend to use the property for. But as it stands today, the front part of the property, which has been zoned general commercial, to the best of my knowledge, since at least 1999, has been this way since countywide zoning went into effect. The rear of the property has also been that zoning designation.
So the company's CBT Enterprises, is that correct?
Correct. And according to the Secretary of State, Mr. Hodge is the authorized agent for that enterprise.
That's correct. We'll verify that.
Special counsel.
I'm moving to now.
Second.
We moved in second that we deny this request. All in favor? Please say aye. Any discussion? Okay. So it's been denied 6-1. Okay, RZ 2301.
RZ 2301 is at 3221 Camden Highway. I will, as a matter for the record, note that what is in the agenda is saying that the request is to rezone the full 20 acres of 3 parcels, which was the subject of first reading and what was presented at public hearing. But as you'll recall, at second reading, which was at the previous meeting, the applicant actually submitted an amended request to rezone 3 acres. That was the result of the meeting that I held with the applicant and his legal representative the Monday following that March 28th meeting, which was on April 3rd. So, as you can see, the request is to rezone 1 2-acre parcel and a 1-acre portion of the larger tract, which is shown in this graphic here, just kind of zoom in here. Planning Commission continues to recommend approval of this request, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Pleasure, counsel.
Move approval.
Second. It's been moved and properly seconded that we have third reading on RZ 2301. Any discussion?
Yeah, I wanted to just say that, you know, when we started this, it was what, 22 acres?
It was 20.12 acres,
20.1
over
acres.
3 parcels.
And there was a big concern about a trailer park that could be put in there, which would be hard to do, but a lot of the people around it felt like it could happen. And I do think that could change the property value, but the applicant came back with, I thought, a pretty reasonable thing to where, I mean, he could put 1 trailer out there in that 1-acre lot.
Correct.
He can't do anything with the lot behind him as long as he's got a building on it. That house.
As long as the existing dwelling is on that property, it cannot accommodate another dwelling.
And the fact that there are mobile homes across the street and down the street from it, and I haven't really, I don't think that that's gonna really affect the, property prices out that way. So, I will be supporting this, the zoning is got right now.
Any other thoughts? We have a motion and a second to approve third reading.
Mr. Chairman, I took a look at the property as well, and I could notice from the road that there were some structures that the presenters talked about during the public hearing. And so I get the possible effect that it could have on their property long range and adding more mobile homes to that that scenario could decrease their property value even further. So for that reason, I will not be able to support it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve third reading on RZ 2301. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 5-2. Ordinance number 23985, prior to us taking up this matter and having a public hearing prior to third reading. Brian, you want to present it?
Mr. Chairman of the council, you have before you the final ordinance, and what you have shows there are three investors in this case. SCM Way Protect Incorporated, that's the company. Solar for American Technology Inc., that's an affiliate. And then Lucky Sumter LLC, that's the owner or landlord of the property, which is the Apex factory. And so what's going to happen here is SCM and Solar for America come into that Apex school building and put in $25,375,000 worth of improvements to the real property that they're going to rent from Lucky Sumter LLC. And there's still some Apex activity out there, so SCM will not be renting the whole building, but the vast majority of it. In addition to the $25 million improvements in the real property, they're going to invest $36,555,000 in machinery and equipment for a total investment of $61,925,000. There are two agreements. One is a special source revenue credit agreement. That will apply to the real property because the real property hasn't been taxed as subject to on taxes. They're not eligible for treatment by fee in lieu of tax agreement. So the essence of that agreement is that you'll take the base taxes, which will be the tax bill comes out this coming October, and due by the middle of January. That'll be the base, and any increases over that base will get a credit of 40% for the first 5 years and 20% for the next 5 years. And you have the fee in lieu of tax agreement. That'll apply to machinery and equipment. That's a standard fee in lieu of tax agreement you've seen previously, 6%, millage fixed for 5 years, but adjusted every 5 years for 30 years. But in addition to the fee in lieu of tax agreement, there will also be a special source revenue credit agreement of 40% for the first 5 years and 30% for the next 5 years. In addition to the investment, they'll create 300 new full-time jobs. Now that's a synopsis of the terms of the agreement. And I know we'll have a public hearing, but if you might have any questions about the terms, we'd like to take this now prior to the public hearing. The fee agreement is basically what you had 2 weeks ago. No changes. Only changes is you have the names now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Prior to you calling for the public hearing, we have with us Brian Rauschenbach from the Economic Development Board. Brian.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Council. Thank you for having us. It's another exciting day when we can talk about a new project coming to Sumter, South Carolina, creating new jobs, new investment. With me, I'd like to introduce 2 of the company members. We have George Millionis, who is the Chief Legal Officer for the company, as well as Cody Blevins, who's the Operations Manager. And with that, we have Dayton Riddle with Parker Pony, who's been representing the company for this project. So when it's allowed, I'd like to introduce these folks to talk about their project.
Come on up.
Good evening, Mr. Council and council persons. Thank you for having us. I'm George Millionis. I'm the Chief Legal Officer for SPI Solar, and next to me is Cody Blevins,
Director of Operations. Nice to meet you, everybody.
I first want to thank the City Council for all their support in walking us through this process. I also want to thank both Jay and Ryan from the Economic Development Office as well for their hard work and tireless efforts to help us get through this long process. I also want to give a little bit of background of Cody. He's been instrumental in our California facility of producing solar panels, and he is going to be instrumental in getting this facility up and running as well. So a little bit about Solar for America and our parent company, SPI. We have operations from Australia, also in California, Hawaii, Greece, and the UK. And they range from solar farms that are producing electricity throughout the United States and part of Europe to manufacturing solar panels in Sacramento, California. The facility has been running in Sacramento for a little over a year, and it has 2 lines that run 2 shifts, and they produce panels that are used throughout the United States for solar projects. Yeah, the Australia operation has also a solar footprint, and that's a wholesale renewable energy supplier for the Australia region. In Sacramento, California, our facility runs about a 200,000 square foot facility manufacturing traditional solar panels. They're the ones that you see on residential roofs and on commercial structures. We only sell them to suppliers and wholesalers, not direct to the public. And they are in high demand. So our excitement here to be able to do the same thing in Sumter County at the new facility that we're looking to lease from Lucky Sumter is going to be a similar footprint model. We plan to do a lot of work at the facility. And just to give you a little bit of an overview, I know a lot of this is already in the documents. We plan to do everything from HVAC work, roof work, interior improvements, landscaping, site improvement work. Water treatment facility is also being planned and designed. And then eventually the plant equipment will be coming in to start manufacturing the solar panels. We have the goal in the next 5 years to have a total of 300 jobs created, and we plan to spend a capital over $60 million over that same 5-year period to do the capital improvements. We have the goal of about $60 million in wages, payroll over the next 5 years, and it will go likely to $200 million over the 15-year period, with the average wage of about $25 per hour is the plan. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an overview and a little bit of context. We're very, very excited to start this project here in Sumter County. We thank you all, City Council, for your time and consideration of this project, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
When do you expect production to start?
If everything aligns perfectly, right, we will probably be looking at more like 4th quarter of this year, just to get it rolling, because it's a gradual increase of what we have to do. There's a lot of disrepair that we need to work on, which is going to bring a lot of local work as well for contractors. So that's a good thing as well.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I'd like to say on behalf of County Council, welcome to Sumter.
We love it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll now declare public comment portion of our meeting and public hearing. I'm sorry. Open anyone speaking want to speak for or against this ordinance. Please proceed to the podium. State your name. Hearing. Council. Move to approve third reading.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded that we have third reading on ordinance number 23-985. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay. Ordinance 23-985 is passed. Our committee reports, internal affairs, Mr. Bird.
Chairman of the Internal Affairs Committee met this afternoon, took the following action. First was a motion second to approve a candidate from the city to the Stormwater Management and Sediment Control Appeals Board. That's candidate A. The motion is second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Also made a motion second to approve and appoint Latoya Moore to the Housing Authority. That's the motion second coming from the committee.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Okay, and that concludes the Internal Affairs Committee report.
Thank you. Budget workshop report, Mr. Mixon.
Chair, council members, good evening. Today at 5 o'clock, council met. All members present with the first annual review of our county operation general fund budget. In the budget request tonight, we discussed revenues and expenditures in great detail. Currently, the way we stand is for general fund revenues projected at $58,288,334. General fund expenditures projected at $59,862.197. We are currently at a negative deficit balance of $1,573,863. Built into this budget as presented tonight is the cost for the health insurance increase as mandatory, also retirement increase. We have also built into this time a 3% COLA adjustment for the employees, and we've also proposed that a minimum salary for any full-time county employee of $25,000. That's what is presented tonight on the the general fund operating. Under the capital, we've not had a discussion yet. We're prepared tonight to just present for information purposes. As you know, we anticipate that we'll bond out 15 mills worth of tax for capital at $3.5 million. However, our requests currently are at $8,443,490 for a deficit of $4,943,490. At the next budget workshop, which is next Tuesday, we will continue the conversation in regards to the personnel request. We will also then have a lengthy discussion about our capital request, along with other agencies that the county funds. And this will also be an opportunity for any of our county elected officials, if they would like to come forward and present their budget request to county council. And that's what we anticipate the next workshop will be on May the 2nd.
Thank you, Mr. Whitson, for that report.
Yes, sir.
Come now to the report from council members on any other meetings, trainings, or conferences.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On Thursday evening, April the 27th, at 6:00 p.m. at the St. Paul AME Church, our new superintendent, Dr. William Wright, will be speaking to the community. The NAACP is sponsoring the event. It's going to be located at 1495 North St. Paul Church Road. That will be Thursday night at 6:00. The public is invited to ask questions, to meet the superintendent, have conversation about issues that may be of concern to you in that area or in the district. You're all invited, as well as council members. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. White. Anyone else? Hearing none, monthly reports, Mrs. Blanche.
Yes, sir. The airport commission information is in your packet, as well as the planning commission meeting coming up. And I sent this to you all, but in case, I think you all know this, but if you click on the highlighted area, it'll give you all the information concerning the information that's coming up for the planning commission. The mayor's prayer breakfast is coming up on May the 4th. And this is rather important here, the Pinewood Site Safety Cleaning Tour. If you plan to attend, I really need to know that this evening. Festival on the Avenue is going to be this weekend. I've given each council member a copy of the itinerary, and I know that there's a parade as well as there's a program. There are Thursday night events, and I'll put that up just before the meeting is over. Memorial Day activities are coming up, and I have placed that in your folder, and that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Blanche. County Administrator report, Mr. Nixon.
Mr. Chair, I have the honor tonight to present to you and publicly announce our new Emergency Management Service Director, EMS Director, Mr. Kent Hall. Kent, please stand. Kent, as you know, has been with the county for a number of years. He's been the Deputy Director over there for a number of years. Has done a wonderful job for Sumter County. We certainly expect great things out of him. We know that it will continue the smooth operation that we have over there for council and for our community. Kent, welcome, and we look forward to a long, long term.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the job that you've been doing, the job that we know you're gonna continue to do.
I appreciate it.
Come now to our public comment portion of our agenda. Citizens desiring to speak within no more than 3 minutes. Comments are to be made through the chairman of Sumter County Council. And I will add, if there are any questions that may arise, they will be answered after council meeting. I now declare the public comment portion of the agenda open. Those wishing to speak to council, please proceed to the podium. State your name for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Matthew Williamson. I'm an attorney with the Shula Killing Law Firm right across the street at One Law Range. Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, actually, I'm sorry, I said Your Honor. I was actually out of court here this afternoon and just got done 4 hours of probate court. But I wanted to speak briefly on the land use matter rezoning request RZ 2301 at 3221 Camden Highway. I'm here with my client, Ms. Martha Rathfield, and her daughter. Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, they own property right across the street. There are concerns about the rezoning request especially in regards to the applicant first. From what we understand, the applicant does have a criminal history. And as it relates to possession of, it says either manufacture possession of another substance Schedule 1, 2, or 3, first offense, and I understand he received probation for that. From what I understand, it was possession of a large amount of marijuana plants. We believe that the potential for criminal activity in the area could go up if he's allowed to if this rezoning is allowed to move forward. Also concerns about the value of the land in the surrounding areas. If multiple mobile homes were being allowed to be placed on this property that's attempted to be rezoned to agricultural conservative, it could negatively affect the property value of surrounding properties. We also have concerns about the existing structure that's on one of the portions of the property, that we understand that it is a fire hazard, and if it were to catch fire, it could damage the other residential homes in the area. Mr. Chairman, we respectfully request that the county reconsider the approval of that rezoning request based on those factors. And if possible, I'd like to give the remainder of my time over to my client, Ms. Martha Rathfield, who's here to speak as well.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. And she'll have 3 minutes as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm in court, though. Y'all sorry.
I appreciate the promotion.
There we go. I'll get to you.
Like I said at the last meeting, him be able to leave a 2-story house up, you asking for somebody that's going to be dangerous. Someone's going to go inside the house, it fall through the floor, or the roof collapse on them. My main concern is with all the overgrowth, it catch on fire, and I was told to do like everybody else and sue him. You cannot get blood out of a turnip when he's got several judgments against him now. But bottom line, that's dangerous. You're asking for a trailer to be moved in, and that affects all of our property values that surrounds his property. And a house being left up.
Thank you, Michelle.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Amber Boucher. I'm also commenting on the rezoning of 3221 Camden Highway. I have done my due diligence in trying to contact multiple agencies within the county, including code enforcement, animal control, and then the planning commission, for someone to get out there and actually take a view of the property. When his aerial view of the property was shown on the big screen, clearly there are other structures that are not permitted and not supposed to be there. Why is that not being addressed? There's already more than one dwelling on the property, and I cannot get anyone on the phone, nor can I get anyone to go view the property. So, tax dollars well paid.
Thank you, Ms. Boucher. Anyone else wishing?
Hello, Brian Davis, once again addressing the RZ 2301 on Camden Highway. As Ms. O'Shea just stated, the 2023 aerial photography map photos that were shown at this meeting back on March 28th, you picked a mobile home on the same parcel as the house. That's already 2 dwellings on the same parcel that only allows 1 dwelling. I know that it's a mobile home because in 2018, I did plumbing and electrical work in that mobile home. There are currently 2 dwellings on the same property. You just voted to rezone to make 3 acres 1 parcel. 1 parcel allows for 1 dwelling, is that correct?
We'll talk about that after.
Okay, I believe it stated 1 parcel allows for 1 dwelling. Now it will be 1 parcel and 3 dwellings. At what point, code enforcement, law enforcement, somebody get involved to make right, to make what is stated right, basically. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Anyone else wishing to speak to council?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hey, I'm Brenda Williams of the Family Unit Incorporated, 501c3 nonprofit, a charitable organization. I'm here actually to ask for, plead for, pray for the assistance of Sumter County, continued assistance for the senior citizens of Sumter County. I received 3 calls today, 2 from Sumter County senior citizens and 1 from Clarendon County. Other counties are calling the family unit because they heard that in Sumter, folks get help with housing. Roofs are still caving in on low-income people who live in Sumter County. Floors are still caving in. Bathtubs separating from the walls, and rain comes in and get mold. So I said all of those things to say this. Then there are requests that are being issued to the school district, Sumter School District and Sumter County Council, to help with the F.J. Delaney school being set aside for senior citizens. Now let me say this. Being honest is the only way I can be. I can't help it. The Sumter School District has not been a good steward of the monies that have come through the Sumter School District. I've been in town for 41 years. And there have been scandals after scandals and embezzlements and all kinds of things. And so now the budget has gone from 100,000 back a few years ago to over millions. I think it's about 6 million now, might be more than that. I say to Sumter County Council, let the school district grow up and learn how to handle the monies that they have, and for the Sumter County Council to use those funds, at least 10% of whatever you all have as your budget this year, 10% toward helping low-income senior citizens with their housing, like you did when the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act money came. Set aside some money for the Sumter United Ministries to have some money to help those individuals, for the Family Unit Incorporated to help those senior citizens to keep their roofs from falling in. And instead of having the Sumter School District, which they have a lot of money, you all know that I came to the Sumter School District a few years ago asking y'all to help the school district get heating and cooling for the Career Center, which hadn't had heating for 5 years. And I went to jail over trying to tour the school back 3 years ago. So I said, let the Sumter School District grow up. They have F.J. Delaney School, keep it under their auspices, under their care, and stop trying to sell those schools out to other interests. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Anyone else wishing to speak to council?
Move for adjournment.
Second. Public comment is closed. And we are adjourned.